Well, it's time now for our Ask the Expert spot here at the Business Festival. And after a couple of guest appearances from some of his other colleagues, Nick Jones is back with us. Nick,
Hi,
welcome.
Carl. Hi, nice to see you.
You've got a post box on your stand in the hall next door. Explain.
Okay, so this is a letter to your future self. So the idea being, there are certain headings on there, and you take some time, you give it some thought, and you write in the past tense, write down what's happened this year, where we are this time next year, and then we're going to post that letter to you next year for you to open, and it's your writing, you've signed it, we want to see what you've put, and then you can actually gauge how much you've achieved compared to what you wanted to.
And see how much maybe your financial priorities change in the space of 12 months, I guess.
Yeah, it could be financial priorities, it could be health, there are different...
So is anything in your life?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So it's relationships, it's health, it's career, family situation. So all of the kind of things that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis that you want to perhaps think about what they might be like in a blue sky scenario next year, then that's all there enlisted, and it's your own words, it's your own thoughts.
So is it sort of very open-ended, or is it asking you a series of specific questions?
There are some specific headings, and the PDF will come be on the screen. And the idea with that is that it just gets you thinking. Gets you thinking about different areas, gets you thinking about different parts of your life, not just financial. It could be goals and aspirations. Money might well be a part of it, but it's actually thinking wider than that, rather than, do I need a pension, or do I need to pay more into my pension? It's more about, well, what am I saving for? When am I going to be benefiting from it? And this thing about the year snapshot, it's just a line in the sand in the future that will be interesting when you open those envelopes, because you probably will have forgotten that you filled them in.
You certainly forgot what you said, even if you don't remember filling it in. Yeah. Is this something you've done before then?
I've done it before on a couple of courses, and I was talking to Beth, who's organised the festival today, and she said, what about the future self? And I said, actually, we do a Best Year Yet programme for our advisors, and we meet regularly on 90 days and look forward, look back at what we actually achieved. And that's really quite good. So it's blending a little bit of that and then sharing it with everybody else.
How does that work then in terms of, I guess from those sessions with your team, you'll have a fair idea of what kind of conversations you're going to be having with people that are posting their letters today in a year's time?
Yeah, very much. The more you talk to people about it, and the more you're able to get them comfortable with you asking serious questions and sharing that with you, but keeping it to yourself, it's all very personal. And when they tell us and they confide in us, so we can help them get guidance on how best to get to the next step, and maybe how to break that big goal down into a year or into 3 years or into 90 days. It's absolutely fascinating, and the leaps that people can make only in 3 months' time is absolutely massive. So if they're able to do that every 3 months, we've got 4 chunks of that in the next 12 months, and in the year's time you can move mountains.
And I guess as well, depending on what time of year or what time in the cycle of your 12 months you're in, it will depend very, very much on what you actually write down, in the run up to Christmas or after Christmas or in the middle of summer. Different, isn't it? So.
Yeah, it's a great exercise to do at any time if you've never done it before. I quite like doing it at the end of the year, like calendar year, so sort of in the winter. You've got January, fresh start, blank page, let's have a look. What do we want to achieve in the next 12 months? You can still do it in the next 12 months depending on whenever you started it. But for me, calendar year, it makes sense to plan that way. If it is that you're watching this and it's the March edition, it's going to be, okay, well, actually new financial year is coming up. So actually, why not be April to April, fill it in and have a look. As long as you're doing it and tracking it, you'll make such more progress than you would do if you don't track these things.
It's been a few months since you were in the studio. I can't remember whether we're still on the same Prime Minister or Chancellor as we were last time we spoke.
Just about, yes.
What's it like in your world at the moment? Are things changing in terms of what people's priorities are out there, do you think?
Still a lot of change regarding the pensions rules, and that's had good publicity because it's a good move all round, really. A lot of flexibility. A lot of things have tightened up. A lot of allowances haven't changed or have been reduced. So people are paying a lot more tax now on the income that they've been used to enjoying. So tax-free or tax-advantaged investments and ISAs and pensions are even more important to get done every year.
And this is the week, isn't it? Your last week to make the most of.
Yeah, it is, because it all 5th of April is the end of the current tax year. We've got Easter around, you've got Good Friday, you've got Easter Monday, and then we've got the new financial year straight after. So all the allowances kind of reset. Some of them are reducing, ISAs are staying the same, pensions are increasing, but there are other things, capital gains tax, which is your allowances are reducing. So there's lots of things to weigh up. And as maybe an employer, you've got employees and they all have their own individual situations. And you as a firm, do you keep paying yourself as dividends and the dividends allowance is reducing down? Do you go back to salary and things? So remuneration strategies is a moving feast always. And then the pension contributions that you can make from the business are really tax efficient, and you can still carry back unused allowances from the last 3 years. So some great opportunities, but it doesn't have to be you miss the boat 5th of April, that's it. You can still do all this stuff in the new tax year, but the 1 year of allowances will drop off.
I mean, I was talking to a few business people in the wake of the budget a couple of weeks ago, who generally felt it wasn't maybe quite as radical or shocking as a lot of people were expecting. I mean, was there anything in there that you didn't expect or didn't like? Or
the removal of the lifetime allowance, so the actual amount that you're allowed to have in a pension before being penalised for it, that was quite a surprise. Now, we'd seen the press beforehand, and there's always commentary, isn't there, and people trying to second guess, and there were people saying, well, it's going to go up, it's going to go to this figure, it's going to go to that figure, but actually to be removed altogether, that was a big step. And I can see the logic of that, because you don't want to deter people from saving, and you don't want to deter people from working, especially if they're pensions to do with doctors and things, where just the fact that they're earning quite a lot, they're having a tax bill every year and they're not actually earning the money, they're getting penalised for working. So then they're making the decision to retire earlier. So if it stops people making that decision, that's got to be a good thing. We've got lots of clients who probably will never touch their pension money because it's treated so well for inheritance tax. They're actually treating that as the legacy, and they're spending all their other money. Right. So each person in individual circumstances will have a different approach and a different way to do things. So this is where personalised advice is key, because opportunities is one thing, being able to do it the right way is another thing. And once you've done it a certain way, you probably can't go back.
Exactly. What do you think of this event? It's not every day you go to a business festival and have people playing football across the way.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was a punch bag.
All sorts of things going on.
I've been ducking.
As a networking opportunity for people, do you think this the more informal, fun approach is the way to do business?
I mean, people buy from people, and if you're able to see people in a different environment than sitting in an office or a breakfast meeting, which has still got their place, but this is fantastic. So you get to see people. You're having a practice on a putting green. I've seen one over there with Barclays. Axe throwing,
I'm not sure I'll be let loose on that.
No. Someone did ask me if they could put certain people's pictures on the board where they were throwing axes.
Did they name names?
No, and I'm not going to say who it was either. No, she might be watching this. So that was interesting, but also driving trucks. But what the Shop Specials team do really well is take an idea and just build it, and the concept grows and grows. And the idea of having fun whilst you're doing business, who doesn't enjoy that? Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of us are still involved in business these days, because it's the social side as well as the business side.
And don't you think as well that maybe since COVID and since people have maybe reevaluated things, they want to do business with people they like, people that share their values, support the local business community more as well? So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, trust is huge. And if people have been consistent throughout lockdowns and throughout times when offices were closed, and they've still been able to be there and offering a service, people now are actually voting with their feet. And if you haven't had any service from whatever provider, if it's an accountant, a solicitor, a financial advisor, then it's easy now to pick somebody else who has been a bit more visible and local and involved in the communities and trying to make a difference, whether the office is open or closed.
Now, I know you're a man that always likes a challenge. You've always got an adventure around the corner. What does the rest of the year hold in store for you and the team at the moment?
Physical challenges, I'm kind of done at the moment. So Nepal was a massive one last year.
Period,
yeah. I'm still doing the gym. I'm still going to Endorph in Shrewsbury. Shout out to Connor and Lucy and the gang. But that's probably 3 or 4 mornings a week, because that's part of my routine now, and I love that. And if I've had an early meeting and I'm not be able to go, I feel different all day, and I don't feel quite the same. I always feel like I'm cheating myself. So that's really important. But as a collective, we've got lots of stuff that we get involved with, and it's either sponsoring golf days, or it's putting teams into this, or getting involved in Ling and Davis. The colour run on Saturday, so we're there volunteering, Emma and I, or Emma and Zane are actually running it. Ethan's volunteering. So it's going to be a family event. But there's just so many things that are going on, and it does seem that the world's reopened, and if people want to get involved, they can make a real difference.
Definitely. I'll take you on at a penalty shootout in a minute if you like.
Yeah, you're on. You're on, absolutely.
Excellent. Good to see you.
Thanks.
See you again soon.
Thanks very much, Carl. Cheers.